So remember, if we will listen to the body will tell us a story. Now, in just the same way that the electricity this morning, which was also dependent on what we might call an inherent therapeutic potency, did not choose to operate at the time we wished it to. It took its own time. The same is true within the body. And I realize that I am putting myself in a hazardous situation because the patients I have selected might not, their inherent mechanism might not decide to work on this Saturday morning. But we will take a chance and we will see if they choose to do so. So, Stephen, where are you? Okay, come up here. And as you watch what goes on, if it does, I want you to try to visualize perhaps the nature of the injury that he may have experienced. I want you to sit facing the audience. Now, would you just tell them the nature of this injury you had in November? What happened? How were you hit?
Can you move the table farther forward?
All right, let's bring a little closer.
Hard to see through.
You just tell them what happened in this accident.
I was driving on a interstate highway, and a truck ahead of me lost 2 wheels on its axle, and they were bounding along the road, and I was following behind them, trying to avoid them and avoid the truck that looked like it was going out of control. And I swerved to the left, and one of the wheels hit my right front fender, and that threw me into the median. And that wasn't too much of an impact because the car was still under control. And it was an embankment, and there were trees. About 2 lanes were beyond the grass. And I was heading about 45 degrees off the road, and my instinct was just turn the car back onto the highway. I didn't want to go into the trees, so I did it a little too fast. I swung the wheel this way. The car spun out, and I think as soon as it had done 180 degrees, it flipped over, end over end, and that's when I closed my eyes.
I want you just to sit with your knees at the edge of the table. Let your hands rest in your lap. And just let your body do whatever it wants to do. So what we do is we set him in the position in which he was at the time of the impact, and then we let the body do whatever it feels it has to do to bring about a change. So all I do is just to take hold of that mechanism, and then let's wait to see what happens. It is very important that the patient neither helps it nor hinders it. Because if they help it, they block the inherent potency. If they hinder it, they block it too. Now it is also important that you as the operator are always a fraction behind what the patient is doing. The patient leads, you follow. Now I want you to put your hands as if you're holding onto that steering wheel and you're gripping it quite firmly. Would you come and just put a hand under his right foot, please? Make his lower leg about 45 degrees, and just put a hand under the sole of the foot as if he was pressing on the foot. Now take a deep breath. Raising up the hook and neck. Just keep coming down to that steering wheel. This time I want you to turn your eyes and look to the left. Let your head just relax. Clench your teeth. And there you could see the various impacts, the various forces that were imprinted on that body by each step in this particular episode. And also we probably saw the release of some other factors from other injuries in the past which we haven't even bothered to explore in the history. Now this was the rather dramatic effect of a recent injury. Just 4 months ago is a recent injury. And we may find that a patient has been wrestling with these forces for years. Maybe 10, 20, 30 years. And they still are not well from that accident that happened way back then. They've been x-rayed, they've been tested, they've had all of the various tests that you can think of performed, and they all come back negative. And that doesn't reflect very well upon the patient's integrity. And far too many patients are accused of malingering following a car accident, just because we, with our rather gross testing, cannot determine that there is a problem. But these patients, too, have their problems. Now, how are we for time? Dr. Freely, do you want to go through one more or not?
Well, we started 10 minutes late. I'll be the same 10 minutes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. You feel ready to get up now? Okay. Turn on your side and gently get up. Okay. Would you like to tell them anything about what you experienced while this was going on?
A lot of times when I seem to spontaneously turn one way or the other, I felt the same kind of impacts that I felt in the accident. When the car was turning over, I wasn't sure it was turning over. I thought maybe other cars were hitting me. And I remember just with my eyes closed, hoping they would stop. And getting jostled like that. And I hadn't quite... I remember thinking about it in the past months, but I never felt it fully the way I did. It was almost like a little like recreating something.
Who was doing the moving?
I was.
But not voluntarily or intentionally?
No. I'm not sure why I moved in the directions I did. I was trying to relax. That was another strange thing. As I was trying to relax, I was tensing. What I did in the accident, fairly sure I scrunched up like this, protectively. And my knees came together on the steering wheel. The only obvious bruise I had was my right knee that kept hitting the steering column. And that whole leg was hugging the column so that I wouldn't come out of my seat. I was strapped in. That's why I wasn't seriously hurt.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you.